Do you watch Outlander, either of you?
I've watched some of it, and then I think Ash and I watched it, and we're like, nah, this isn't totally for us. But,
oh gosh, I love it.
yeah.
But in the current season, Jamie is making his own whiskey in the United States because that's spoilers. They go there, and everyone, they take a sip and they go, mm. And you get the sense that, like, can you imagine being like newly in the United States and not having any whiskey for years, and then someone's like, I'm gonna brew it, and they brew it and they bring it to you and it's good.
Oh, so they're actually doing it non-sarcastically.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way you did that made it seem like you were like, oh, this is real good. I think we're just picking up on some of Amanda's natural sarcasm.
I'm just being, yeah, no, they're like, I can't do it.
I mean, it is the Scots that brought the whiskey making to America and started the bourbon trade. It was a very direct line. There's probably some Irish descent there as well, but largely Scottish, which is fantastic. Hey,
and that's why I have some great Canadian whiskeys too.
Oh,
there's some.
Right?
I grew up with Canadian rye, and it was not good. It was pretty punchy in the face, rot gut.
Oh, all right. I rescind my what I said. I take it back.
There's starting to be good ones. There's starting to be people that go, oh, you do it this way. Oh, you take your time. Yeah.
Well, then now I'm like, why aren't there good? I guess I've had some now, but why weren't there? Because like a lot of Scottish people went to Canada. So what's the deal there?
I don't know. We had lots of barley. We have lots of water. It seems like the conditions are ripe for it, but yeah, I don't know. Not a lot of oak, maybe.
I wonder if there's any peat in Canada. Anyway.
There's a bunch of people named Pete.
we might be a bit premature. Yeah.
No.
I don't know. We're ready to make people into Scotch yet.
Scotch is people.
You're thinking of Soylent Green. So what's next? What's the next? What do we got? What's number 3?
Is Amanda ready?
I'm ready.
That's a good question. And it's funny because I numbered these, but apparently I numbered them wrong because my 3 is a K. So I'm going back to 2.
What are the letters?
We're Ardbeg. A for Ardbeg. This is a committee release. Ardbeg Grooves, which they put out. I can't remember if Drum is the current one and Black is the one this year. So I think this was maybe 2 years ago. Ardbeg Grooves. And what they've done is taken wine casks and they've heavily charred them so that there's grooves in them. And it really is infused the whiskey. So it's kind of a different experiment. They like to experiment with a lot of stuff. And they have this beautiful courtyard that you can go in, and there's the visitor center just here, and these little picnic tables so you can eat and sit outside in the Scottish sun, which we went in May, and we basically had this weather every single year for the last 3 years. We have this beautiful blue sky in May, and they were like, well, don't get used to it.
And you're like, I will get used to it. I live in Los Angeles. See ya.
Yes. 51.6%. So this says, from the experimental folk at Ardbeg comes this intensely mellow dram produced using our grooviest casks ever. Smoked spices combined with distant bonfires fading.
I noticed that the font is groovy too. They have like a 60s sort of like
hippie sort of.
Yeah, sort of a what is the cartoonist from the 60s? Crumb. Looks like R. Crumb. Anyway, I because Laphroaig has been my go-to Scotch for a long time, and like one of my favorite Scotches. I have like I've gotten over the years many bottles of Laphroaig, but I think Ardbeg is now my current. I think I like it better than Laphroaig. It's got like more. There's a little more. I mean, I love Laphroaig. Don't get me wrong, but there's a little more nuance I've found, or maybe it's just what I like now because it's different. But I don't want to say anything bad about Laphroaig. But right now, this is what I'm into.
Oh.
Yeah, that is some nice. There's some fruitcake in there, some nice fruity stuff going on. Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, fruitcake is right on. It doesn't have that sort of Christmas.
And there are like levels of fruit, like like stacked levels deep. Like Like if this was a house that was like a witch's house made of candy, it would be made of like fruit cake, or it would be made of like preserved fruits, or like entire house made of
but
like
you get it's
soft.
what it is. I'm smelling the fruit, but also toffee.
Ooh, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe some caramel in there.
Right.
And once again, much different. Like this, as far as like strength, like I would say, like this is between the Laphroaig and the last one we had. What was the last one again?
The Kilchoman.
Kilchoman, yeah. This has more. This is bolder,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely has kind of the fruit of the Kilchoman, but the Laphroaig, it's got, but it's more intense. Like, and I haven't tasted it yet, but
I thought that the Kilchoman's smoke was the most interesting smoke I've had. This one is a little bit less specific for me as far as what the smoke smells like.
yeah, I'm definitely getting that campfire in there, though. I'm definitely getting that smoke, but it's not as,
like
it doesn't have a,
iodine as you get
almond logs. Yeah, like just warmer, less piney, more sweet dessert like.
I feel like I'm getting that pine in the flavor, though. When I taste it, I feel like I'm getting the pine for sure. Like that tastes to me like a delicious forest, like a forest in Oregon, because a lot of pine forests in Oregon.
With all the needles lying on the canopy.
Yeah, I do wonder that like one of the reasons I like Laphroaig and Scotches from Islay is because it reminds me of where I came from, like Oregon, because there's like all of those forests. And there's a lot of campfires. There's like rain. It's like all that sense of, I don't know. There is that trees. There's like trees in all of these. Even though they're like peaty, they remind me of trees.
Right.
A lot.
Makes sense.
It's the nostalgia.
I don't get pine from this myself. I don't get any pine.
Really?
But I do get the gingerbread, fruit cake house, like a fireplace and a fruit cake.
Wow, man.
I have some friends that did a walking tour of Ireland, I want to say, and they had to walk 10 to 12 miles a day, and it was like a 10-day, I think it was like a 100-mile walk, something like that. So it's like a 10-day experience, and they stayed at all these different pubs and stuff, and I don't know.
So they walked 10 miles a day?
Yeah, it's pretty grueling, but also awesome.
Was it one where they kind of like shuttle your luggage to the next place and you just
correct?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Right? Doesn't that sound nice?
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome.
Because 10 miles is not that bad.
In a day? Yeah.
In a day, no.
Yeah, you walk like 3 miles an hour, so right?
Yeah, if you're walking, if you're dedicated to walking. You can walk slower than that.
I have an on and off relationship with walking. I'm definitely not dedicated to it.
Yeah, so probably, maybe 3.
I love hanging out with walking. What?
Ireland, so you could probably walk a mile, stop at a pub, walk a mile, stop at a pub.
Right.
And then take a cab for the last 8
I feel like that's a Zeno's Arrow sort of situation though. Like after that, like the first pub, then you're gonna walk half a mile, then you're gonna walk like a quarter of a mile, and then like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Or maybe you'll walk more. Maybe the pub will, Guinness for strength, right? Isn't that the? So are we sciencing this? What's the story here?
I was thinking I think, I will take the bullet for everyone here.
Yeah, I kind of want to wait and see. I could science it, but I don't know.
I have a lot left, so I'm using 2 drops.
Yeah, I only have a little left. I could probably put a drop in this.
On the nose, I get a little bit of like old foam rubber. Like when you were young and you had those foam rubber pads that you'd put on the cat. That's so awesome. Good balancer. You're a good balancer.
The cat's like, clearly the humans were waiting for me to show up because look at their response. They're so happy.
Yeah, although
they were depressed till I arrived.
Why touch me?
Here, smell my whiskey.
Oh, there you go. That'll drive them away.
Nope.
It's because that's my cat.
Yeah. You've come home smelling like that all the time.
From our nightly flies.
Yeah, I love how they have to smell it though.
Dances round the campfire.
Does your cat
well,
like
if I have
like he'll smell it and then he'll go like, and then he'll like leave. If I have any citrus, like if I squeeze lime into water and I have that on my hands, so like he'll be like, "Hey, I love you. What do you got on your hands?"
No, I don't.
Fuck this, and he'll leave.
Norbert is he's a very smell centered cat. He likes to smell whatever people smell like. So
does Bowie, but there's certain smells that he just doesn't like.
I haven't noticed that with Norbert, and he's very strange about how he smells. And he'll smell. You can ask Kelly Lohman, previous guest of the podcast, about this. But his typical greeting for people is he'll jump up on something and sort of smell your face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call Bowie the little sniffler because he likes to. He sniffles things like a dog. He'll sniffle everything: your shoes, your feet, your like whatever. He's like sniffling it.
That's cute.
Little sniffler.
I had a cat.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I had a cat, Bijou, who was really good at finding like the hard treats that I threw. But if I ever was like cooking chicken and had it boiled and just gave her a little cube of chicken and threw it on the floor, she couldn't find it if it stopped moving. Like she couldn't smell a piece of chicken on the floor.
Interesting.
Weird cat.
Yeah, because Chloe has to identify treats by sight. She has to see where they go, whereas Bowie can smell them out.
Interesting.
So,
interesting.
And the treats are quite pungent, I think, on purpose. Like they're super
Yeah.
So what do you think about the science?
Like I said, so I got the little sponge rubber on the nose.